Hey nerds, it's episode 71 of the Nerd Rundown podcast, and we have a gigantic show for you today. Disney had their D23 Expo and dropped a truckload of news from the House of Mouse. Back on the show is the greatest neighbor in the history of podcasting, Bryant Castile. Darren's hero, the Mandalorian, returns in the trailer for season 3. Bryant and his work buddies are ready for the new series Willow. Yeah, that Willow from 1988. Morgan and his beard are looking forward to Werewolf by Night, and I'm reaching into the bag to dig out Samuel Jackson's wallet that says Secret Invasion. Ready? Hit it!
Welcome to another episode of the Nerd Rundown podcast, where we cover the latest in the nerd world of movies, TV, and more. I'm Darren Stemple. You all know my co-pilot, Eric Hare.
Greetings, everyone.
I'm pretty sure you all know Morgan Santo.
Howdy.
A outlaw
a setup.
action.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, you like that?
And very, very, very happy to bring Brian Castile back on the show.
Woo-hoo.
Thank you. Keep those expectations low. Be good.
And you will never be disappointed.
That's right.
Good advice. You can find us on our social media like Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, all at the Nerd Rundown. And while you're there, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Leave a comment. Even you audio only people, if you take a moment out of your day, hop on YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't, and then leave a comment or leave a Nerd Box question. Both we love, and both we'll interact with, and one will get your name on the internet, which, you know,
Maybe
could be a
good
thing.
or bad. Who knows?
It's usually good. Right?
And then per the usual, you can listen to us on all the major podcast services. Oof, big time rundown. Good to be back on the rundown myself this week. Great job last week recapping House of the Dragon, or as Grim George R.R. Martin likes to say, Hot D. Likes that Hot D. So that is something we will be continuing to release on a weekly basis. So stay tuned later in the week for our recap of that. Very, very excited to more Hot D. This week's rundown is massive. We had D23 happen this weekend, something we've been anticipating for a while. Maybe we should have listened to Bryant and kept our expectations low, and maybe we wouldn't have come out a little disappointed. We're going to break it all down for you today. We're going to start with opinions first on D23. I'll start with you, my co-pilot, Eric Hare. Going into D23, did you have large expectations, and were they met?
I did not have large expectations just based on the lineup that's kind of planned for this year. You know, there's really nothing kind of groundbreaking that is going to, you know, really set the world on fire. At least I was thinking, you know, I think I was a little surprised with some stuff. I was kind of disappointed with other things. And then with some stuff, I was like, why are we making this like a big deal now? Like, it just is like, I don't understand that part, you know, and that may actually upset you too, because I know you're a big fan of that particular, and not that I didn't enjoy it, the series as well, but I guess they're trying to strike while the iron's hot and saying that, you know, since Daredevil's coming back, you know, but I'm like, okay, like you guys just made the decision. Now you're having like this huge panel. You got all the actors, you got all this different stuff. Right. It's like, do you have anything? Well, no, we haven't even started filming. We're going to start filming here, you know, and I'm like, okay, well, like you're kind of I wouldn't say wasting my time. Like you're building the hype, I guess, or whatever, but it's still at the same time, I just was like, meh. So, but surprisingly, I agree
with you on that.
Yeah. So surprisingly for me, I was not disappointed. What I expected to see, they showed me. You know, I saw a couple of things that I was not expecting to see. The Thunderbolts cast, super cool. Like that to me was, I wouldn't say the highlight, but that was a sleeper thing that came in that I was not expecting, and I looked at it and I go, awesome! Like I am looking forward to this. I can't wait to see this. And then the rest of it, for the most part was I wouldn't say ho hum, but it was okay. So
Okay.
but, yeah, that's my opinion.
I agree on the Daredevil part. Like,
yeah,
we knew everything that they told us. There was nothing, nothing new. We'll break it down a little bit more later on.
Right.
But I agree. Like, why you telling me about the X-Men cast right now?
Yeah, right. Something I don't know.
Yeah. So, Mark, same feelings.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have high expectations. I mean, I even forgot about it until you texted. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. And then I
was like, get ready.
The whole thing. I'm just like, meh. I don't go much further than that. Meh.
You'll give your stuff you are excited for, and I'm sure there's a few.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. When we break it down, yeah.
Bryant, did you even know D23 was happening?
I did not. No, I rely on you guys for this kind of news.
I got the show. I've got this podcast that I listen to. It tells me all about that stuff.
Love it. Yeah, I think I've got a range of emotions about it. I was very excited to hear like Fantastic Four casting. Didn't get that. Didn't get X-Men casting or even an announcement or even a mention of mutants. So it, in the end, it was like pretty disappointing. But there was some really great stuff that came out of it, and really get the rundown started. We got the Mandalorian season 3 trailer, and my God, I loved it. I loved every second of it, and it even had some old scenes in it. So I'm gonna. I'll
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll start with you here.
No, it's okay. I was just saying that the start of the trailer was basically just a recap of the previous 2 seasons, and because I was watching this and I was like, "Are we going to see actual stuff from the
right?
Please tell me you're not trying to pawn this stuff off that season 1 and 2 scenes the budget's. Hey, listen, the budget's really tight this year, guys. So we didn't actually film like half this. We're just going to recycle some of these other scenes.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bryant. Maybe start with Bryant and see what he.
Yeah,
I thought the trailer looked great. Super exciting. Even the recap at the beginning, I thought was cool because you hear the recap from the armorer's voice, and you hear like new lines like "You took your helmet off. You're not a Mandalorian anymore," right? Like that that's not a line she said before in the other.
I was trying to figure that out. I feel like she said that in.
She said something like it, but
yeah, it was something similar.
Has he seen her since he started taking the helmet off?
Did you watch Boba Fett?
Oh, there you go.
Right. That's
that just clicked into my head.
I forgot.
Really clicked into my head that was from Boba Fett.
Right.
I completely forgot about that.
Well, I thought it was cool.
Spoiler alert.
I missed your.
It's a good spoiler. Now I know it from a trailer.
Really, you don't need to watch any of Boba Fett. Just watch episode 4
episode 5.
or episode 5 of Boba Fett. You're good. You're caught up.
You're good. That's all you need to watch.
I watched all of Boba Fett. I watched episode 5. Loved it. It was great.
It's the best episode.
Oh, poor Brian has this.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, I like exploring that whole like cult, the death cult or death watch cult. Like, I think that's one of the most fascinating aspects of Mando is like these fractured Mandalorians and him kind of exploring, realizing that he's in a cult that he didn't know. Like, that's a great it's a great.
You never really know until you all take a pill and die.
So you miss out on the Kool-Aid.
Hey, drink this Kool-Aid. Just hand these cups out to everybody. That's
Right.
Quick question for you, Bryant. What are you most excited to see in season 3 of The Mandalorian?
I think I'm just interested in the Bo-Katan versus Mando Din Djarin conflict and like how that's going to play out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Want to see him battle. I mean, it looks like we're getting some serious Mandalorian action, Morg.
Yeah.
Where do you think, what do you think will happen in season?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see that struggle for the sword, the power,
the dark saber.
Yeah, we're going to have the struggle for the dark saber because as Because if you watch Mandalorian, or no, that's if you have the Darksaber, you're pretty much you're the leader. You're running it. So I'm excited to see that play out. This is something that I was excited for when I saw this. I was nervous, like Eric said at first. I was like, I swear, if they just show me a bunch of old footage and then it just ends with like Mando standing there with Grogu and that's it, I was going to lose my mind. But I'm glad the footage looked good, visually good. I think this is. I'm excited. I'm excited for that.
I'm not sure if it's just the fact that it's a Naboo starfighter, but there was some plane scenes in there. Some of Mando's new ship. It felt a little prequel era starfighting. I think that's a term. So Eric, are you pretty pumped for some Naboo starfighting from Mando?
Yeah, I thought it looked awesome. I really did. I loved the trailer. I loved the starfighter part. I think I feel the same as you. Even though I loathe that movie like beyond belief, I still do like the Naboo starfighter. I think it's super cool. And I think that was a cool scene. It was cool kind of how they how they worked it in to where he, his old ship, goes out. But I think it's a little cramped quarters, and what the heck's he going to do with his bounties? Like, that's the only thing I'm kind of curious what they're going to do about that. Is like,
he's not really a bounty hunter anymore.
Well, yeah, that's true, but
they're all coming back.
You can't tell me we're not going to put people in carbonite anymore and have to do something with them. But
yeah, that's a good point.
My question, and like maybe I just wasn't paying attention to Boba Fett, but how did Grogu get back with Mando? Because like when I watched the end of season 2, he
R2 brought him back in that season, in that episode 5. He made the decision. Is that what happens?
And I missed it.
Yeah.
I missed it. Okay, or maybe
Spoiler
I just didn't
for
pay attention.
Brian.
Spoiler.
Yeah. All right, now it's in the trailer. Like once it's in the trailer, you can't claim spoiler.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's coming, but I was like, we're like at the end of season 2, it's like has this epic ending, and Luke takes him off to do whatever Luke does, and now he's back. So maybe I must have missed it in the Boba Fett
makes
episode.
the choice between being a Jedi and going to his daddy, and he chooses daddy.
All right, this is daddy.
Yep.
So we're very excited. It says 2023, so no Mandalorian season 3 this year. Hopefully we get like maybe a January release. Who knows? But looking forward to Mando season 3. The next trailer that came out from Lucasfilm, and we're doing this by Disney franchise. So we're going to start with Lucasfilm because Mandalorian's probably the best thing on this whole list. Maybe debatable, but honestly, I think one thing that may live up. Out of D23, that may, well, you know what? Mandalorian is like, it's the number one Lucasfilm project out there.
Right.
Bigger than even the sequels. Anyway, Andor, the final Andor trailer. I am so hyped for this show. I think it's going to end up being out of all the September shows, and I'm really enjoying Lord of the Rings. I'm really enjoying House of the Dragon, She-Hulk. And I think Andor's going to blow them away. This final trailer is it wasn't a whole lot of new stuff, but it still kept the tone of the previous trailers, that anxiety tone I've been talking about. I cannot wait to see this thing. And we get 3 episodes the very first night. So we're going to be treated very well. I'll go back to you, Eric, to get started. Andor final trailer thoughts.
It was good. I don't, I'm in. Like I was already in after that last. I think after the last trailer, so this just kind of gives you a little more insight, more in, a couple more clips and stuff like that. But I was already, in, so I don't really have anything, groundbreaking to talk about. This series
sold already.
Yeah, this series really intrigues me because of the time shift that they have planned for it, which that's part of the House of the Dragon stuff. There's a lot of time shift that happens in that. So I'm interested to see how that progresses as well. I'd like to see how Andor how Cassian Andor, I guess matures or moves, how they're going to work him from where his starting point is all the way to to where we know he finally ends up and stuff. So but yeah, the special effects look fantastic. Acting looks great. The music, I can't wait for. That's one of the things that I love about Star Wars stuff is the music is always really, really fantastic. So even if the movies are crappy, the music is usually always dynamite. So thanks, John Williams. So
seriously, thank you for everything. I'll move to you, Bryant. I haven't really talked to you about Andor, so I'm excited to hear your thoughts.
It looks great. I mean, I think it's encouraging that it's like the same crew that put together Rogue One. That's really promising. I think it's a really cool time period in the Star Wars franchise of just like the dawn of the rebellion. Really cool. It is one of those shows where like it's got a where it happens to the main character, right? So like you're all building up to this tragic moment. But I think it's cool that they're doing it with a character that's like he's charismatic, but he's not hugely important in the Star Wars universe. And I think that gives them a lot of freedom about what they can do with it. It lets them just really explore the universe more than having to worry about how it fits in with the Skywalkers too much.
Yeah, absolutely. This isn't a rebuttal necessarily. I do hear that kind of thing a lot where it's like, why do we need a show about Andor? And it's not necessarily that we need a show about Andor, but he's your anchor point for the story that ties you into the Star Wars universe. And then they expand it from there. They expand the story of how the rebellion started, and you don't have to do it this way, but you pick somebody that's known, not well known, so you can expand their story a little bit more, and it helps tie it to the rest of the timeline, and I'm excited by that, especially since when you walk into Rogue One, he's your first main character you meet, and he kills a dude right off the bat, and you're like, man, this dude is serious. So, Morg, where are you at on your hype level for Andor?
Yeah, I'm still excited. It hasn't changed. It's not like I'm more excited, still excited. I am a little cautiously optimistic on this. Mandalorian's got a good track record. That's why I'm excited. Some of the stuff they've done Star Wars wise has me a little cautious.
Okay.
But I am excited. I mean, I'm gonna watch it the second it comes out. I'm gonna be there. So we'll see.
Are you saying you didn't like Boba Fett or Obi-Wan? I think we had this conversation.
Yeah.
I like Eric said, I was sold. My hype level hasn't changed. It's maybe gotten even much more excited knowing almost here. But man, that music is fucking awesome. So excuse my French. The next thing on the rundown is something new that we're getting from the Star Wars universe. It's called Tales of the Jedi, and it's it's not a mini series, but it is a series of mini stories, not mini MANY, but MINI, in the sense of it's three episodes about Ahsoka, and then 3 episodes about a younger Count Dooku. So, with the trailer that premiered, we got our first look into the series. I'll start with you, Morg. What do you think?
I don't know. When they first announced Tales of the Jedi, I don't know. I thought this was going to be something cooler.
Okay.
I don't need to see Ahsoka.
Okay.
She's getting her own show. She's in the clone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need 3 episodes. I feel like we know her, right? Why am I getting 3 episodes of her? Let's do something else. The Dooku part, I'm a little excited about because I'd like to see him a little bit younger and kind of molding. But I don't know. I expected more Jedi tales, like almost like a what if, where each episode's a new story.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was expecting more out of it. And we would get more Jedi, whatever they were telling about.
Yeah. A cool little thing about the Dooku episodes is Qui-Gon is being voiced by Liam Neeson. But there's also going to be a young Qui-Gon, about kind of probably when Dooku recruits Qui-Gon, and his voice actor is Liam Neeson's son. I thought that was a pretty cool
That's
little
That's cool.
thing. Brian, is this something you're going to throw on at some point with your boys, or no?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I haven't watched any of the other animated ones. So this is just adds to the 800 hours of Star Wars catch up that I need to do through all the animated shows. And it looks like it. I mean, the animation style is similar, but newer and fresher than the other ones. So I mean, it looks cool. And I'm sure I'll watch it eventually with my kids. But yeah, I've got a long backlog before I'm going to get to this, and it doesn't stand out as something that needs to be picked that I'm going to be missing out if I take a long time catching up on it. Not like that episode 5 of Boba Fett where I'm
That's tonight. That's tonight.
That was important.
Eric, is this something that's on the docket for you?
Nope.
We have a category coming up later that's the nope category.
I just
I'm
not
a
I'm just not a I'm not an animation guy. So and like Bryant said, I never watched any of the Clone Wars stuff, so it's like a whole backlog of stuff that I think I'm okay not watching. But if you wanted more backstory and you like animation, have at it, man. But for me, it's not really my thing. So I am interested in the next item that you're going to talk about, though.
Yeah, well, I do find it a little weird. We're getting 3 Ahsoka episodes when we were getting an Ahsoka live action. We've gotten lots of Ahsoka in.
Wasn't
Clone
she
Wars
a ton in Clone Wars? I mean, I didn't even watch it.
She's
I know
like the
she
main
was like,
character.
She's the main character.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, listen, writers' room. We need to amp up the hype for Ahsoka's show. All right. So, what do you want us to do? Could you write 3 episodes, or 5 episodes? The best I can do is 3. It's fine. Fine. We'll take it. We'll figure out. We'll write 3.
Fill the rest of the Dooku.
Sold. I'm sold.
Yeah.
Well, Eric, next on the rundown.
Yes.
I am freaking pumped for this. Willow got an official trailer. We got a teaser before, which was an amazing teaser. Just let us know your thoughts, Eric. Regale us.
First of all, this looks gorgeous. It looks spectacular.
Looks cinematic.
And it looks very. Maybe I'm wrong, but it looks very practical. It looked it didn't look like animation sets, when they were walking across and stuff. That looked like that was a legit. They're there, type stuff. I love the return of Willow. I'm excited about it. I'm curious to see how they, play in kind of the older stuff. Gosh, I would love to see a Val Kilmer, Mad Mardigan, just like a little snippet or something. If they could throw in Mad Mardigan in there somewhere or whatever, or whatever. But this looks awesome. It looks really, really great. And again, this is kind of, we sometimes bag on Hollywood and everything for kind of recycling shit sometimes, where it's okay, right. Well, we're out of ideas, so let's just but this is one that probably should have had some sort of sequel way back, and it got, I don't know what happened with it. I don't know whether they had something going or they just didn't want to go with it. But Willow should have been something that they returned to a long time ago, I think, and had a franchise. So I think this strikes me as a environment that you could maybe dive deeper into beyond just Willow. So you could definitely, you had a whole and I'm not saying that you want to recast Mad Mardigan, but
sure, you
could do a prequel Mad Mardigan and cast it as somebody younger and do it. And I don't think anybody would be upset with you, because that way you could get more tales from this particular, universe and stuff. So anyhow, that was my thought. I think it's great. I'm really excited for it.
I love everything you just said, because along with, why do we need an Andor show? Some people are saying, why do we need a Willow show? Well, first of all, Willow was not a success in the theaters. It became a cult classic once it was played on TNT, and as it got to VHS is when it really grabbed its audience. And so it became a very niche audience. And I think this is definitely, the kind of old, nostalgic thing that you can, I agree. Like, that's a great point. You can easily dive in to the Willow world and expand it and have fresh stuff, because that's not something we've gotten anything more than just a movie before. So that's a great point. Eric, thank you. That was
You're quite welcome,
bingo,
sir.
spot on. Yeah. Brian, I've never spoken to you about Willow. Is that something?
Yeah, we haven't. I like Willow. I'm really excited about it. My team of computer programmers at work, our team is actually named Willow.
Nice.
After they're all named after like 80s sci-fi references. So that's ours. Yeah, I'm stoked for it. I think it looks great. Everything Eric said is spot on. It does look beautiful, and I like that it looks beautiful in a different way than we see. Like, it looks really bright and colorful. Like, it doesn't look dark, but it doesn't look cheesy colorful either. Like, just really picturesque in a colorful way, and I think that's cool to bring something new and fresh to it.
That's another good point. Go ahead.
The young cast, I often get nervous when it's like a really young cast of like if it's going to be silly. But these are all actors that I've seen. Like, the teenagers are all people that I've seen in other shows and that I know that they're solid. So that encourages me too. Yeah, I think it looks great. I'm excited for it.
To add on to the cast point, they're bringing Kevin Pollak back. He made it. I love Kevin Pollak. He's
so great.
One of the great imitators in Hollywood. He can do so many different voices. So it was great to see him come back. Yeah, one of the people that you see in the show is Tony Revolori. I can't remember his name.
Guy
but
that plays Flash in the
Revolori.
Spider-Man.
he plays Flash in Spider-Man, in the new Spider-Man.
He's in a show called Servant on Apple, which is really great. Also, M. Night Shyamalan's show.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, he's good.
To learn about that one.
Yeah.
The girl is Ruby Cruz. She was in
She was
Castle Rock,
talking-
that Stephen King spin-off show. And she was in Mare of Easttown also.
And then Erin Kellyman is Jade. She plays that's the gal from Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that's right.
Flag Smasher.
Yep.
Great points. I like it. I know.
By the way,
more.
Christian Slater is in it also somewhere.
Great.
Is that right?
Yes.
They're bringing him back?
They are bringing him back.
Interesting.
In some shape or form.
I love hearing that.
I don't know what it is. So, but he's in there somewhere. So
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I am down for that.
Please,
Morg.
please, Val Kilmer. Please.
I just need more Val Kilmer.
Say it looks good. Maybe not quite as good as Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. It looks
What
pretty
is?
good now.
What is? Cinematic masterpiece. It's gonna be.
No, I never watched Willow.
Pause the podcast. If you're driving, pull over to the side of the road and Google Winnie the Pooh,
Blood and Honey.
Blood and Honey.
It's gonna
And make
might
sure
be
your
the
kids,
worst.
Gonna be a
make sure your
masterpiece.
kids and nobody else
Worst
is
trailer
around
I've
for that.
ever
So,
seen.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I never watched Willow. The show does look good. I think from what I saw, it makes me want to go watch Willow so I can watch this when it comes out.
I haven't watched Willow since I was a little kid, but I was like 10 years old when it came out, I think. And I have really fuzzy but fond memories of it. And I am a little bit afraid of rewatching it if I'm going to be doing this once. Or like I watch it and I'm like, oh, this is not as nice as I remember.
Right.
I relate to that so much because, first of all, Brett D. King loves Willow. And if you're friends with Brett D. King, then you hear about Willow. And I always was like, yeah, I've seen it. It's good. Just don't remember it, because then also you watch it when it's on TV young and you see it's the TV version and it's cut up and maybe you only watch pieces of it. So very excited to dive back into the Willow world. The last thing on the Lucasfilm rundown portion is we didn't get any footage released to the public, but the D23 audience was treated to some exclusive footage, and then they brought the cast on stage for the new Indiana Jones. I think it's just called Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And apparently the footage was amazing, and Harrison Ford himself got emotional on stage talking about how good this movie is. And remember, it is
Harrison Ford hates all of his movies.
He's very proud of this one.
Nice.
Maybe he's softening up in his old age, but James Mangold directs this, and everything James Mangold has done in his career has been lights out. He's definitely an underrated director. If you want a good list of movies, look up James Mangold, and you'll be able to be entertained at minimum by every single one. He did Logan. If anybody needs just one off the top of my head,
watch that one. Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was really, really encouraging.
Youngsters.
I think we all are in agreement that we are very cautious about what Indy 5 might be.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll give my co-pilot here a chance to say anything about that. Eric.
I go back in time to think of the South Park episode where they talk about Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
I haven't seen it. I'm sure it's
where the kids go to the
amazing.
theater and they all come out and they're just like, they raped him. Like, over and over.
Over.
It's just awful. It's just awful. And I was like, oh man, so
yeah.
Okay. Like I go back and I think to myself, no matter what you do after The Last Crusade, you're not going to spoil the Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is what the movie is called. It's not Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Right.
You can't go back retroactively and go, well, we're going to change the title because we really want Indiana Jones in the title. But it is Indiana Jones. It is Raiders of the Lost Ark. So that movie is tremendous. I know that you're a big fan of Temple of Doom. Not so much for me. That one was I thought a letdown. Oh, I thought you were. I thought you were a Temple of Doom.
I am. I like Temple of Doom.
Do you like Temple of Doom?
Okay, yeah. It's not a terrible movie. Like I didn't dislike it, but coming off of Raiders, I was like, meh,
Yeah.
But then The Last Crusade was just awesome, with Sean Connery,
Which is my favorite.
Yeah, and it's for me, it's a toss up, between one or the other. Great. I'm kind of morbidly curious to see what they come up with for Indy 5. I'm pretty confident that his running is not going to be quite as good as Tom Cruise's running is, but
yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
But maybe you get more character development here, and maybe we can toss the baton over to maybe they introduce a new character. I know they tried to do that with Shia LaBeouf in the other one where it was kind of his kid, but
the move.
But it didn't really take. So
I'm interested to see what they do, how they handle that.
Yeah. So whether they just kind of
he died. He fell off a cliff.
He's a motorcycle mechanic now. So everybody's proud of him. So, but
I'll ask you guys, Morgan and Brian, is this going to be a babysitter movie where you get a babysitter and go to the theater and watch, or is it going to be you'll wait till home release? I'll start with you, Morgan.
One, I would take Carson to it. I thought with Batman.
Yeah.
Not a date movie with.
He saw he saw me play the beginning of The Last of Us, so he's been introduced to some things. All right, he's been introduced to some things. And boy, did they have the violence in this.
Yeah, man, he's gonna be strong.
I think if you use the lowest common denominator when it comes to being a parent, like I look at I go, people are like, hey, you think you should say, well, let me see if Morgan did it. If Morgan did it, then it's like, all right, probably be okay.
Somebody out there.
That or he's the outlier. Like, don't do what Morgan.
Whatever you do, don't do. Like your poor kid is like a test is
Yeah,
like a test
that's what
case
I
for
do.
my kids. Like,
We've
how
always
did your
said
kid like it?
we've always said that Carson's going to be the leader of the resistance. So
I will
he's,
say.
you're
He
training
has a lot of
him,
knowledge, and he's got the
training
training
him.
going.
Oh, I love it.
Terminator's next.
Toughen him up.
John Connor.
Yeah.
Terminator's next.
Nice.
But yeah, very cautious. Very, 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 very cautious. And I wouldn't be surprised if they just ignored the last movie ever happened.
Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me.
Please.
Brian, babysitter movie?
Yeah,
Bring your
here's my
boys to the
strategy.
movie or home release?
No, my strategy I think will be that I'm gonna wait till you guys see it and you say on your podcast whether it's good or not,
All right.
and then I'll decide if it's worth going to the theater for.
That works.
Like
Fair.
I like that. I like
That's
that.
fair. I will tell you. I will tell you. You didn't ask me, but I will tell you. I will see it opening night.
I knew I didn't need to ask you.
Yeah.
I knew you would see it.
I'll see it opening night. My wife will most likely go with me, but if she doesn't, I'll go by myself, or we can go together. I don't care what. But
I figured you'd go to a late night by yourself.
Yeah, I will go
can't
see
do
that
it.
one. Yeah, I'll go see that one for sure.
Which I never really understood how you could do that until I went to Love and Thunder by myself, and I'm like, this is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I actually
I don't mind it.
this
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that'll wrap up Lucasfilm. Maybe a good, good convention for good D23. Not great,
Like
not
a
mind
6 out of
blowing.
10.
Yeah, like great Mando trailer, great Andor trailer. Although we had seen enough of that to be sold on it.
Mhm.
Tales of the Jedi, that definitely is going to, sit well with a lot of people who are the animation fans. Plus, I did see Yaddle in there, and I want to see more Yaddle in action. Maybe with Yoda in action. Who knows? Willow was cool. Indy 5, good to know. Harrison Ford cries. So we move to the biggest studio that Disney owns right now, Marvel Studios. We'll start with their 3 theatrical releases first, and then we'll move to the Disney Plus series, starting with, we got news, we got nothing, production hasn't started, so it's nothing more than just, here's what this movie will involve. Captain America New World Order is going to feature Tim Blake Nelson's return as the leader. And I say that kind of oddly because he's never been the leader before, but he became the leader at the end of the Incredible Hulk movie in 2008. The leader is a really, really, really great Marvel villain who's usually a Hulk villain. So this is interesting that they're introducing him in the Captain America world. But New World Order, is it being started by the leader? Where's the leader been for the last 15 years? At least I know it's 2023 in the Marvel universe, 15 years. Danny Ramirez, who played the young soldier in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he was Anthony Mackie character's buddy. He will become the Falcon in this. This is apparently not spoiler stuff, so they just announced this. Carl Lumbly will reprise his Falcon and the Winter Soldier Isaiah Bradley role. Fantastic in that show. Carl Lumbly was, and no mention of Bucky being in this movie, so that's interesting. But there's a reason why. We'll get to it. So I'm gonna start with you, Morgan. I know you're probably the second biggest Marvel Studios nerd here. What do you think of the news for the new Captain America New World Order?
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on it. I'm excited. I love the fact that they're bringing the leader, that they're bringing him back too, because I felt bad for him, like, because he was like, oh, I'm about to be a big bad guy in the Marvel universe, and then all the crap happened,
Yeah.
So I'm glad they're bringing him back. I'm interested to see what they do with it and how that really goes. Like you said, where's he been? What has he been doing? We can assume he maybe blipped, but that still was only 5 years. What else?
Yeah.
I think he's probably been building and working on something big, and that's why we haven't seen him. But
yeah,
I have hope.
Yep,
I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be good, and I'll be there definitely to see this day one.
Tim Blake Nelson is an underrated
Oh yeah.
actor. He can play a creepy role. And in fact, one of the creepiest roles he was in Minority Report when he was the guard for like all the
Yeah, that's right. I forgot.
all the people in Stacy's. Bryant, is this kind of news? Is this the kind of news that you're like, oh, shit, I like that?
No, I'm pretty neutral on it. Like,
Okay.
I'm glad those actors, I guess in particular, are coming back and that they're gonna flesh out their roles a little bit more. I think the idea of bringing back more stuff from those first 2 Hulk movies is really cool and promising. So if this is a setup for that, then I think that's really exciting. I don't know much about the leader. He's not one that I know from my very limited Spider-Man world of comics. So I don't have any particular feelings on him besides that I liked those first Hulk movies. So I think it'd be cool if they bring it back, especially if they explore the darker side of Hulk. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. So the leader is as smart as Hulk is strong. So he's got a big
Take that
brain.
for what you will.
He's got a big brain. Eric?
Well, I think that's a good. Yeah, I think that's a good setup for for the new Captain America stuff, because he's not serum juiced yet, and we're not sure if he's going to be serum juiced or not, whether he's just going to stay that way. So having him have to fight a guy where it's more of an intellectual battle versus a physical battle, kind of makes sense to me. I think as having him as the big bad, because he doesn't need the superhuman strength to defeat this. I mean, I guarantee he's probably gonna punch the shit out of the guy at some point, but but or a lot of people, I imagine, but but we'll see. The other bit is Danny Ramirez. He was in the Falcon Winter Soldier, but he was also fanboy in Maverick. Top Gun Maverick. So so you may know him from that one.
How about that?
And Tim Blake Nelson, I cannot see him as anybody but the cowboy guy from
Buster Scruggs.
I know what that is.
Oh my gosh, you have to watch at least watch the gunfight scene. There's a couple of gunfight scenes with him, and he just is incredible. And just the look on his face is just it's just fantastic. So he's got one of those faces where you're like, I don't know, it's just one of those things. But yeah, I again, everything coming out of D23 for Marvel Studios was pretty lightweight. Like I felt like this whole thing was pretty lightweight. So I don't see anything on here that I was gonna go. So again, there's really nothing to this. We're just talking casting stuff. There's really and maybe a little bit of plot that we're bringing the leaders. So
we have one thing that did get a trailer that we'll get to.
Yeah.
But speaking of no Bucky, big reason why there's probably no Bucky is he will be teaming up with a team that we've recently mentioned and talked about. I think at the Comic-Con episode is where we found out this was going to be a movie. Mm-hmm. We speculated who could be on the team. Some of us were right. Some of us guessed some. I think Morg, you guessed Ghost. I think early on that was a good guess. So I'm going to start with you, Bryant, on the Thunderbolts.
All right.
Cast was revealed. We have Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who we've seen in multiple projects recently. Elaine. Ghost is coming back. You remember Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp? She could teleport. I don't know if that was the right. Yeah, phase. That's the right. Red Guardian, David Harbour. I love me some David Harbour. I thought he was probably one of the best parts of Black Widow.
Yeah.
Yelena Belova, speaking of Black Widow, honestly thought she was going to be part of this team, but leading the team, I didn't expect that. So she's probably been bet you could ask this question on the internet and get a good nerd debate. The biggest new character from Phase 4, is it Moon Knight? Is it Yelena Belova? Yeah, I think she takes the cake. Bucky Barnes will be there. So you got a few Russian ties to the team with Yelena and Red Guardian, and now Bucky, who is not Russian, but he was brainwashed by the Russians. You have U.S. agent Wyatt Russell's character from The Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Taskmaster, the bad guy. I should put that in air quotes from Black Widow as well. So, holy cow, that Black Widow movie is really spawning some characters for this team. Bryant, what do you think? Sorry, I started with you and then I talked for a while. And
that's all right. I think it's cool. I like to see the Black Widow characters coming back. Interestingly, I just listened to or watched the newest Doctor Strange and listened to your caught up on that episode, and was surprised that you guys all thought Black Widow was worse than that movie, because I definitely thought the Black Widow movie was much better than Doctor Strange. So I'm happy to see those characters come back. Yeah, like you said, David Harbour especially, like he was great as Red Guardian, and my wires were like totally crossed watching the newest season of Stranger Things too, of like breaking out of another Russian prison, and I was like,
they did that on purpose. Like, we'll just leave him here to film this stuff.
I'm surprised by Bucky Barnes being in the list. So I know the Dark Avengers, and I don't know the difference between Thunderbolts and Dark Avengers, but like in my brain, Dark Avengers is like the like semi-evil disguising as good versions of all the main Avengers. And so like I'm also surprised to see like 2 Bizarro Captain Americas on the team. Like I don't know, and maybe
3 really.
who's the other one?
Bucky, U.S. Agent, and Red Guardian are all
and Red Guardian in a way. Yeah, that's true. Good point. So Bucky's the one that surprises me out of the list. I think having Yelena be the leader is not super surprising, because I think she's the one that they've invested the most character development in besides Bucky, and so I think that's a solid choice, and fits with like they've been investing in that character.
Yep, that's a really good point.
Yeah. You want to explain to me Dark Avengers versus Thunderbolts?
Yeah. I was trying to think of that, what you said. So Thunderbolts and Dark Avengers are 2 separate teams, but they are tied together in a sense that the Thunderbolts came first. They were started by Thunderbolt Ross, and I'm sorry, they were actually started by Baron Zemo, and they were named for Thunderbolt Ross because they were like a government group that was put together when the Avengers disassembled, and the government needed a team to go out and be superheroes, and so they recruited bad guys to be the team. And then Dark Avengers is more tied to Norman Osborn, but the Thunderbolts cast, the roster, changed so much that by the start of Dark Avengers, they just became the Dark Avengers.
U.S. Agent was on Dark Avengers, right? And then he was on West Coast Avengers eventually, when he's like not so much a bad guy anymore too, right? Am I getting that all mixed up? Because he's like my anchor to these like bizarre Avengers, is like that character.
I don't remember U.S. Agent being on Dark Avengers. But I think he was part of the Thunderbolts at some point. But I could be, my brain could be mixing those up.
Anyways, it doesn't really matter. Like the idea of like, it's like Bizarro Avengers ultimately, with like they're going to be evil, but they're going to be good guys.
But the Dark Avengers were started by Norman Osborn as like they all knew they were going to be evil, but they wanted to play good. The Thunderbolts thought they were going good, but then they ended up still breaking bad. So if that makes any sense. So Morg, you nailed the Ghost casting. What made you think Ghost was going to be part of
this? Because she is kind of good, like what she was doing. You know, the reasoning behind it, she was just trying to essentially live. She was going to die, so you know, she was kind of good. It's not like she was necessarily evil, and I kind of wanted to see her come back. I disappointed with this. I really am.
Okay. Why?
I understand no Thunderbolt Ross, obviously, that unfortunately the actor did pass away.
William Hurt. Yeah.
But no Abomination, maybe. Now I know Abomination's back purely as a joke now, but like that's upsetting because I thought he would be in it as some sort of redemption. Hey, you need to go here. You're
Sure.
you're in jail. You're paying us back. You're on this team. Something like that. Taskmaster. That
She was terrible in Black Widow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was awful. They CGI'd a woman's head on it. Like it just didn't look right. Like so upset that she's a part of this.
Okay.
The rest makes sense. I get that. Interested to see Elaine more and see like how much of a role she is. Is she like an Amanda Waller from the DC? Where she's just controlling the team and can kill them with whatever she has or something. I don't know. But I don't know. David Harbour, I like to see David Harbour, of course, but even that's not like drawing me in for this. I just not feeling this one.
Okay. I do think Abomination will end up on the team. I don't think they introduced Tim Roth as Emil Blonsky and Abomination and She-Hulk if they're not going to do more with him. And this is like a perfect project, and maybe revealing him, is a spoiler for She-Hulk. So I can see your point, that it is disappointing to see him not on the team, but I don't think that this is the final roster for the movie.
We'll see.
Well, and he also made an appearance in Shang-Chi too. So
yeah, which they address in She-Hulk.
Right, but you can't. So I don't think you can. I don't think it's coincidence that you're pulling that character into your orbit. You're bringing that character more into the orbit of this whole thing. So
yeah,
I mean, it may not be for Thunderbolts. They may have something else in mind for him in another realm, but I don't disagree with Darren. I think he'll end up on the Thunderbolts at some point or somehow, or maybe come in and save the day or as reinforcements, or if they feel like it goes well, have him as a bring him in for the sequel if they've got it, something along those lines. So
do you think there's a possibility that he's the villain that they're coming together to fight? Because that's not part of the casting news, right? Who the villain is?
I think it's going to be Zemo.
You think Baron Zemo?
If he's not part of the Thunderbolts, I think that's because they're going to use him as the villain.
But why not admit that now?
Well, I think you don't want to give away all your cards at the initial.
We won't have an announcement for the next convention.
Well, because the plot could be they're fighting something, but you don't know who's behind it. You know what I mean? So I don't want to give it away.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, nobody there has any superpowers. They're all for the most part just badasses in their own way. I mean, except for the phase.
Dave Harbour has superpowers.
Who?
I thought Dave Harbour got a super soldier like serum.
No, he means like nobody's shooting lasers out of their butt.
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I don't. It doesn't strike me as an off-world villain. It's definitely going to be a terrestrial villain of some sort or another. And or they could surprise me and do something like like a giant starfish that.
That's very true.
But
Never
who knows?
know.
Very
Please
true.
don't.
Is James Gunn directing it?
That third act can turn in ways you just can't predict. So, but
it does close out Phase 5 though, Eric. So where do you think it leads? How do you think it leads into Phase 6?
Well,
which is where the big Avengers movie.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Well, I still think Doom. I still think Doom is in there somewhere. Dr. Doom is somehow, he may not be the main villain, but he may be the guy that's employing the main villain in this one somehow. So
controlling Baron.
Yeah. So it could be. I don't I don't know. Again, Baron, he's great to have after Falcon Winter Soldier. He's great to have as your bad guy. Like he feels like a Thunderbolts guy himself, Like
Well, he
and I think he was
the Thunderbolts in the comics.
I was going to say in the comic books, I think he wasn't he? So again, I have a feeling that's another one that they'll pull into the orbit of the team. You could be right. He could be the villain, but I don't think so. I think they've invested too much in making him quote unquote good guy-ish, not so badish, you know. And
did he blow something up at the end? Oh, I don't remember.
No, he
No,
didn't.
he was kind of like a still gray character, but
yeah.
It
He's
was
not
the
a
Flag
good guy,
Smashers that
but he's
blew
not
it.
a bad. He's not a bad guy.
He's not bad guy, but not bad guy.
At the end, he blew somebody up because remember his butler like let him know like it's been done. He killed somebody.
Well, but he didn't kill anybody that didn't need killing. So that's the thing.
He killed some government official, I think, or something.
Yeah, it was somebody. It was somebody who I think betrayed him, or It was. I remember why. I remember what I know what you're talking about, and I remember thinking, man, you know, he didn't kill anybody that didn't need killing.
Didn't need getting killed.
But they were all bad.
And there was no Punisher. There was no Punisher.
Bad.
Right.
True that. You could quote that movie all night.
Yep.
Here's a prevailing theory, real quick. I know we are running along on these.
Yep.
They're setting up the villain in that movie could be the Masters of Evil, which is also led by Baron Zemo, but also has Abomination. It has what's the Ironmonger is an Iron Man villain. He's from Russia.
What is it from Iron Man 2?
Well, it's not Whiplash,
but
it's the guy he becomes at the end.
Yeah,
because he was an amalgamation of two.
Yeah, okay.
That's gonna drive me insane. Anyway, Enchantress is also on that team, the Masters of Evil. So it'd be cool to see like a team of semi-bad guys beat out or go up against a really bad team of. So very excited for more Thunderbolts. We'll stay tuned for any more additional casting for that. We did not get footage released to the public, but again, D23 got their own exclusive footage of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and it sounds like Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is gonna be an absolute banger of a movie. People were enthralled in the footage they got for that, and I just cannot wait. And now there's a rumor that the director Ryan Coogler could be the director who will be directing the Avengers Secret Wars movie. So he's stepping up in this world. Give me more Ryan Coogler. Everything he's done, I've loved.
Yeah.
And very, 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 very positive feedback on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And Paul Rudd said it's unlike anything you've ever seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I'm very excited. Paul Rudd wouldn't lie to us, right? Never. He would not say he's doing something and then show us something else. So we'll move on to the Disney Plus series for Marvel Studios, which should actually run pretty quick after this next one. Secret Invasion. We got our first trailer for the Nick Fury-led Disney Plus series that comes out next year. I loved this trailer. The more I watched it, the first time I watched it, I was like, I'm still disappointed that this isn't, like an actual, it could be its own saga, like the Infinity Saga, the Multiverse Saga. But I am glad it's a Disney Plus series. They can flesh this story out. The trailer gave me anxiety, much like Andor. Eric, are you going to tune into Secret Invasion?
Very much so. Yes. So, and I'm behind on most series of stuff as it comes in. I just don't watch it. I will be in front of the TV for this one as soon as it comes out. And yes. I it's not like I don't like the other stuff. I just, this one is very intriguing to me. I just love the mystery type stuff, and I hope that they do a good job, with having the whole Skrulls stuff, just being able to mimic other people. Gosh, you just don't know who anybody is. You don't know who anybody is. And I mean,
who do you trust is the tagline.
Yeah. And they do that whole scene where the guy's sitting there, and then everybody in the room turns into the same guy, and you're like, holy smokes, it's just.
And even Ben Mendelsohn, who is a Skrull, looks freaked out in that moment. That, I thought that was the banger, the best scene in the movie.
And I love, I mean, I don't think we've talked enough about Ben Mendelsohn, because if we have, it's not enough. Like it's
not enough.
More,
I love Ben Mendelsohn.
He's great.
Yeah, he's
Bloodline
incredible.
was not the same without
Yeah, he's incredible. And then of course, Samuel Jackson is just amazing. So yes, definitely juiced for this one, ready to go. Cannot wait for this. And surprisingly, because it's I wouldn't say it's a smaller franchise, it's a lot bigger than it. To me, this is a lot bigger and has a bigger impact than maybe people kind of realize. Like this thing, because of the far-reaching, because of how big the universe, how big the Marvel Cinematic Universe is. If you don't know who is who, you kind of have to nip that in the bud and get rid of that. Which I think is what's going to happen in this series. Is you're going to have to do it, because going forward you're going to have to face some pretty tough people, and you can't have somebody who's a Skrull, that you're depending on. To come through, and it's like, it turns out I don't really have that power because I'm just a normal Skrull. So sorry, But anyhow, that's kind of my thoughts on that.
I like it. Either didn't. Morgan texted this past week about She-Hulk, and it felt like he just copied and pasted a Twitter comment onto a text thread about a joke every 5 seconds in She-Hulk. And watching
Thor.
Oh, it was Thor. Yeah, it was Thor. Sorry.
Thor.
Yeah, Thor. But fair also.
Yeah. It's a very true.
This does not look like it's going to have a joke every 5 minutes. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm excited for this. It looks like it's going to have a serious tone to it, which it should. It's essentially like a spy thriller.
Political spy thriller.
Yeah, trying to figure out who's who, what's going on. I do think this could have been bigger. The fact that it's a show makes me think it's not going to have too much of a consequence outside of it, especially because they're doing the multiverse saga and all that. Yeah. Like, I just don't think they could do Secret Invasion on top of that.
Yeah.
Unless this could maybe set up the next big 10 years. You know what I mean? They're starting to implant it now, which will be recalled, later.
Yeah.
But I am excited to watch this one. I'm going to tune in, and I have some high hopes for it. I hope I don't get burned. Nick Fury says it's Morbid time.
It's Morbid. Brian, is this one you're going to wait for us to watch, or are you going to day one?
No, I think this would be pretty high on my list to watch. It's easier for me to I've got a bunch of shows that I'm excited to watch, and my wife will probably watch them with me. And so I'll wait until I can get her to watch them with me. If they're ones that she's like, nah, I'm not going to watch that, then I'll just watch it by myself, right? But this is one that I think Kelly will be excited about also. The political spy thriller is totally up our alley. And so I think it looks really cool. Yeah. It's nice to see them. Seems like a do-over on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I hope they do a better job with this and it doesn't turn into their B-level TV show. But I think given all the investment they've had in series lately with the Disney Plus shows, I'm optimistic.
Totally optimistic. When political spy thrilling, I don't know if that's a term, but I'm going to make it.
It is now.
Trademarked. Is done well. Man, I don't know if there's anything better than political spy thriller and done well. So I'm very excited for it. I mean, Winter Soldier's first or second favorite movie of mine, and that's political spy thriller with some sweet ass punching and kicking. So, so that was the only thing of the Disney Plus series that we got any footage of, but we did get some notes on some other things. So, Armor Wars starring Don Cheadle was reconfirmed. That was announced back on Disney Investor Day in December of 2020. And then we didn't get anything for it at Comic-Con, so we were wondering if it was still happening, but it is. Don't know when. No date on that. We got Echo cast members, Aleko Cox. Vincent D'Onofrio is confirmed for it, and he will be wearing an eye patch. And then everybody else, I don't know who they are, but that show is going to be starting shooting soon. It should also is rumored to have Matt Murdock in it. We got Loki season 2 news. They're currently shooting that. May all almost be wrapped actually. And I'm going to butcher this name, so I'm just going to say who he is. But the actor who played Short Round in movie we've already mentioned, the Temple of Doom, Ke Huy Quan, I think is how you say it, has joined the cast, and he has actually reemerged as an actor recently in a movie that is getting the highest acclaim. Everything everywhere all at once.
Yeah.
He's gotten high acclaim for that, and now has joined Loki season 2. So there was a really cool online, like a Twitter photo, or a photo thrown on Twitter, I should say, of Harrison Ford and him hugging each other at D23 that they reconnected. I thought that was pretty cool. But premiere, we don't have a premiere date for that. Production is underway, and again, Tom Hiddleston, Owen Wilson, Sofia Di Martino are returning. I know. I'll stop there. I'll pass it off to you, Eric. Out of all of those things, what stands out the most to you?
The Loki season 2, I'm looking forward to that. The Armor Wars with Don Cheadle. God, love Don Cheadle.
He's great.
I just love Don Cheadle. I think I could listen to Don Cheadle read a menu and I'd be like, God, this guy's awesome.
He did great.
So, he's really great. So Armor Wars, I think. So I actually am really excited about all 3 of these series. I really am. The Echo one, really, I'm really kind of excited to see that character, to see more from that particular character. Again, sometimes we go, was anybody asking for more of that? You know what? I'm okay with seeing more of this particular character, because she was kind of she was a badass.
Yeah.
And, and so I'd kind of like to see more of that. So yeah, that's kind of where I sit on that. So.
Awesome take. Morgan, out of that, what stands out the most to you?
No, none of it really stands out to me. No, I mean, it's just because it's just disappointing.
Okay.
Hey, we reconfirmed Armor Wars. I didn't think it was going away. Great. Thanks. I'm glad you did that.
Yeah.
Probably out of all of it, Echo, but that's because hopefully we're getting to see my boy in there.
Yeah.
Daredevil. And, I'm hoping Kingpin is a little more serious in this as well.
It wasn't Hawkeye.
Yes.
All right, Bryant, anything else stand out to you?
I mean, I don't know how to say his name either. Ke Huy Quan, is that it?
I think that's right. I think
that sounds
exactly
great.
what I said.
I mean, he was great in Everything Everywhere All at Once. That movie was awesome.
Oh, so you saw that?
I saw it, yeah, and he's
How was
great in it.
Was it
really
good?
moving. It's super good.
Yeah,
Especially watch it
really good.
and then contrast it with Doctor Strange for
that's what I've heard.
Do a multiverse movie better. It's funny and it's heartwarming and it's great action. It's got everything everywhere all at once.
I see what you did there.
Anyways,
Well
so
played,
that's exciting to see him
well played.
being successful and coming back in that.
Mm-hmm.
I think exactly the same thing as what Mark said about seeing Kingpin again. I was irritated seeing him in Hawkeye because I felt like they made him a joke. And so I'm cautious. I don't Echo didn't seem like a joke in that show. And so I think if they keep Echo's tone in this new show, then I think it'd be nice to see Matt Murdock and Kingpin brought back in. But if it's going to be silly like Hawkeye, I'd rather them just leave him out than make fun of him.
Sure, I get that.
Great.
That's great point. We did get I'm sorry, so we did get one other trailer, and this was something that I watched and I was like, can be in the nope category for me, but we got a Werewolf by Night trailer for the Halloween themed program starring Gael Garcia Bernal and Laura Donnelly, who you would probably know her face if you saw it. It's Marvel Studios' first TV special. And this also just reminds me that we didn't get any Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, which comes out just a couple months later.
I'm proud about that.
So, but this premieres October 7th on Disney Plus. Who here will be tuning in? Okay, Bryant, Morg,
Raising our hands.
Bryant, tell us why.
Yeah. I like horror. It looks like a kind of a little bit cheesy noir kind of horror, like a Tim Burton-esque. Reminds me of Tim Burton's kind of shows, and I love those. Comes out around Halloween time, and I got a little bit of a blank check to watch horror shows with my wife around Halloween, so I will definitely take advantage of this one.
All right.
I don't have super high expectations of it. To like, it looks silly, but I'm okay with that for this type of show. Like, there's room for that type of silly in my viewing.
Mark?
So, I know this is going to bug you, but I honestly think this is going to be a must watch. Now, I know what you're thinking. Like, what? We know what the tone of this is supposed to be, right?
Okay.
There's no conflicting, like, super seriousness or anything. We know what the tone's going to be. It's going to have that cheesy horror to it. But I think it's going to have some actual horror to it. I mean, they show somebody's arm getting cut off in the trailer, you know, and they show a werewolf just wrecking what look like TVA people. So I'm interested to see how it ties in a little bit, because I think it's going to.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be a fun one. I honestly think this is going to be a surprise sleeper hit.
Okay. I will more don't compare it to like the best horror movies of all.
No, I won't do that. I'm not expecting, you know. I mean, I feel like The Conjuring is going to scare me way more than this will. But that movie still scares me.
Did I hear, Brian? Did I hear you jump?
Yeah. Can you? What does it mean that it's their first TV special? Does that mean it's broadcast television, not their streaming service?
Or do you mean like holiday themed?
Yeah. So, like, if you think about NBC would like put up a made-for-TV movie. It could be, you know, a holiday theme. They did a Halloween one, but it's in that.
So it's like a straight to streaming movie, but like it's not a series like some of these other ones we're getting. But
we're not sure it's going to even tie into the MCU. It's just going to be its own, like, this is a character from the Marvel comics that we're making a Halloween special about.
I hope it's J. Jonah Jameson's son with the moon rock.
That's what they're great.
So lastly, from Marvel Studios, we kind of touched on this before, but Daredevil Born Again brought out Kevin Feige brought out Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox, and they very minimally discussed the show. One exciting thing that did come out of this is that Daredevil is going to be a big part of the MCU moving forward. And it's
about time.
Yeah, about time. Exactly. So, Eric, what do you think? Anything more to add from what you said earlier about this?
No, I think you're just striking while the iron's hot. You know, like, hey, we made this deal and now it's coming back. But I mean, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. You didn't tell me anything. You didn't show me anything.
Nothing to be excited about.
Yeah, there's nothing really to be excited about, other than the fact that of what I was already excited about. You know, so that's
yeah. It's like, why are we doing this?
Hey, were you excited before? Yeah. Well, you're going to be really excited because I'm going to tell you the same thing again. Just keep being excited because I got more coming.
Yeah.
So
I get you. I'm there with it,
and it's not like I'm not hyped. You know,
my God.
It's not like I'm not excited for what's coming, but I just feel like
we're going to need a new name for Loki Boney because it's going to have to be Daredevil based. And I feel like there's something there for it. So we'll have to think about it. I'm very pumped up.
I'm with the D.
I'm sure there's a one-shot joke in there somewhere.
There's something in there. I don't know. Morgan, did you have anything more to add to Daredevil Born Again?
I will say I am nervous about it now.
Okay.
I read that Charlie Cox has said that this is not a continuation at all to what was on Netflix, that it is essentially a reboot, which makes me nervous because that means now they can change him and Disneyfy him if they want.
Okay.
I mean, this story is about Karen Page is at the time ex-girlfriend and getting addicted
They
to
have
drugs
to-
and selling out his name.
I'll stop you there. They're not adapting the comic storyline. They are using it name
Okay.
only.
Yeah, see now
Does
that,
not mean that it still can't carry over some tone from the.
but so that right there, as soon as I heard him say that, immediately in my head I was like, well, I guarantee they're not going to adapt the story now, because you have to have a relationship with Karen Page to adapt that story. And
Yep.
if this is a reboot, we don't have that. So
It was also already done in season 3. Like season 3 is a soft adaptation of Born Again.
Mm.
So why do it again?
So it just
Name-
makes
in
me
name
nervous.
only.
That's all. And She-Hulk will really determine what direction they're taking Daredevil.
But I wouldn't
I hope
use
not,
that
'cause that's
as the
silly
framework
already,
movie.
like-
But I don't think you might get a lighter toned Daredevil in She-Hulk, but that doesn't mean that that's the Daredevil moving forward. Like a character can shift their mentality and their tone from
So you're telling me
serious to
right
serious.
now that Daredevil's not going to be good in She-Hulk?
That's not at all. I bet he's the highlight of She-Hulk, but I wouldn't
Not that
expect
hard.
there to be. It'll just be a different tone for the Daredevil series.
I'm just being very nervous now because
I know.
what we had on Netflix was gold.
Just saying, just be cautious in
Yeah, I'm not. Okay.
keep your
If-
expectations
If
low.
it makes you feel any better, Disney made a Predator movie.
True.
So they're not. I don't think they're going to.
Deadpool and Logan are on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
It's not like
Yeah, I don't foresee the Disneyfying at what you're talking about as happening. I really don't. I don't. I could be wrong.
They
And if
did
I'm
it
wrong,
with Pinkpin. Oh, that's why I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, but again, that's just not. It's a different tone for the show.
I was going to say that particular show was a lighter show. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
like Hawkeye is not a dark. Well, Hawkeye is not a dark guy. He has a dark side to him. There's a whole different character. But that series itself was like a Christmas.
Yeah.
It was
I get that.
Christmas series.
I get that,
Christmas
but at the same time, it's
action.
just we can't just be like, you know what, we're gonna make this series lighthearted, so let's just make the dude funny this time. It's like,
But
so what, we just
Kingpin
throw out
was
his
the only
character?
thing like silly about Kingpin, and I use air quotes for audio people when I say silly, was his outfit. But that outfit was literally
got beat
on a
up by a
comic
12-year-old.
cover.
Yep.
He didn't get beat up.
He was like
got
16.
outsmarted.
No, he got beat up.
The man ripped off a car door.
Yeah, and then got blown up. Anyway, we'll move on. We're
He should
very
have been
excited
hitting her
for
with that
Daredevil.
car door if it was in the Daredevil show, right? Like,
Yeah, he would have ended right there.
Yeah. I don't think that
so much for your
the blood
protege.
and guts is what made. Here's the thing about the Disney fighting. I don't think it's the blood and guts that made the Daredevil show so great.
Agreed.
It was the characters.
I agree.
So I
That's
don't
what
need
we
it.
tell-
I
that's
don't
what the
need a
characters-
super dark Daredevil story to be showing me because I can't look at it anyway. Blood and guts. So that's
I
the
don't need
thing I
that.
can leave in Netflix. Brian, did you have anything to add to Daredevil?
No.
Daredevil.
I mean, I'm cautious like Mark. It makes me nervous that they're gonna reboot it. I don't understand why they would need to do that. That doesn't make sense to me, unless they're gonna take it a different direction. If they take it the same direction and keep the tone that we loved in the Netflix series, then I think that's great. But I'm nervous. But I'm like, even if I'm glad Daredevil's going to be part of the MCU.
Mhm.
Like, I think he's a super important character. So like, it's good that he's going to be there. I hope that they keep the tone from the Netflix show, and I'm nervous that they won't.
Okay.
But we'll see.
I think they'll keep definitely
And get both sides.
some dark elements, but not the full dark elements. I'm dark guy, but I'm not dark guy.
Dark
Is that
guy.
how that goes? So that wraps up Marvel Studios. We've got 2 categories left, but they're really quick. So stick with us. I know we're running along here. This is from like 20th Century Fox and Pixar and the rest of Disney animation. they announced a lot of things. We did get 2 trailers that I do want to, see what your thoughts are. And the first one is the new Disney Plus series coming out soon, National Treasure: Edge of History. No Nick Cage, but we did get a
Riley's back.
Riley cameo at the end of the trailer. Eric, are you excited for National Treasure?
Not in any way, shape, or form am I interested in this.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
nope.
What was worse for you, the Hocus Pocus 2?
It's pretty bad. I honestly, the National Treasure, I think, was actually worse than the Hocus Pocus.
Mhm.
Actually
the Hocus,
had some expectation.
the Hocus Pocus is just camp. Like, it's totally campy, and I'm okay with it. Everybody knows, it's safe. It is your Disneyfication of something. So, you've reached peak witch when you have it on, on there. We've talked about in the zombies episode. When Disney does a series on zombies, you've reached peak zombie, and now they've made 3 movies. So, same thing with Hocus Pocus. So,
I did laugh out loud in the Hocus Pocus trailer when they told her to spread out.
Yeah, right.
Got me.
Yeah.
Okay. True that.
Yeah.
True that. So Brian, then to you, what are you more excited for, National Treasure or Hocus Pocus 2?
I mean, I'm not excited about either of them. I probably will not watch National Treasure unless, like, I hear on your podcast that Nick Cage shows up in episode 5, and then I'll tune in. But otherwise, I'm not interested at all. I probably will not watch Hocus Pocus either unless my dad happens to be over in Halloween time, and then I'll put it on with him. And I feel the same way about the Santa Claus show. Like, no interest. If my dad happens to be over and wants to watch a movie, that's one that my dad will like. So
I'm actually excited for the Santa Claus.
I was gonna say, me too.
Me too. Okay, I'm on the outlier there.
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited for the Santa Clauses.
I have too.
So I'll go to you, Morgan, then add in Santa Clauses to this, and then I'll get Eric's take on it.
Yeah, I feel like I've got to add in a couple things here. So, National Treasure, that's a big no.
That's a nope category.
I was so disappointed. And that I'm more disappointed because I would love to have another National Treasure movie with Nick Cage. I would. I'd love to see it. So that it just looked bad. The Santa Claus? Did we bring that?
The Santa Claus is.
Yeah, I am looking forward to that. The first Santa Claus movie is still one of my top Christmas movies to go watch.
Oh yeah,
I love it. It's some of the peak. It's peak Tim Allen.
Yeah,
it's really So I am looking forward to that. And Hocus Pocus 2, we're gonna watch it. I'm not like super hyped for it. I'm sure there'll be some moments where I'm gonna laugh. It's just they're gonna try to repeat as many of the old gags as they can. I'm sure.
Yeah.
We'll watch it. Don't get me wrong. We'll watch it.
All right, Eric.
My wife is super excited for it.
Oh, good. Okay. Somebody's excited for it.
I can tell you, my wife and my daughter Amaya are just like really excited.
Eric.
Yeah.
Is the Santa Claus's does the Santa Claus trailer or Santa Claus's trailer have the greatest cameo of all time in the trailer?
Quite possibly.
Omaha.
Yeah, right.
You see what I did there?
Yes, I'm gonna shove this in Brady's face. It's the
best. We are recording as of this right now. We are recording on Monday night, and he is on TV. I think on the Manning cast. Yeah. So, yep, fantastic. So again, surprisingly excited for that one. We haven't talked about the other 2 things, right? We've just talked about National Treasure and Santa Clauses, I guess. We haven't really talked about. So the next one was Elemental and Inside Out.
Yeah, sorry. I was looking something up there. Where would you leave off there? I'm sorry.
Oh, that's right. We were talking about Avatar. That's one.
Yeah. So the next thing was that, again, exclusive footage to the audience. Another huge, I know they don't pay these people at D23 to say this. And I know being in the theater there, people are like, it's just a different experience. But man, people were really, really wowed by the footage of Avatar: The Way of Water. So this is starting to pick up some steam.
Did these people at the convention, were there any that they weren't wowed at? Any that they were like, nah, that's a flop?
That's what I was
Like
gonna say,
maybe
right?
this
Like,
audience is like a little biased in one direction.
you got to remember,
Maybe the
everybody
Werewolf
was-
by Night.
Yeah.
Everybody was amazed by the new Star Wars trilogy and these things too. So you got to remember that. All of these people are always amazed about everything they show.
True. That's what I say. Like maybe it's just being there in the theater and in that, in that audience, it's just there's some about that buzz. But you know what? This is something we're gonna have to start really paying attention to as we get closer to December with the release of Avatar to The Way of Water. How's it gonna fare? It's gonna be a big question towards the end.
You cannot underestimate James Cameron. Cannot
I
underestimate.
don't think it'll be as big as the first, though.
And I think it may not be as big as
Exactly.
the first, but I think you're gonna see 3D like you when he did it before, it was 3D like you'd never seen.
Groundbreaking.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was 3D like you'd never seen before. And I have a feeling this one's going to be equally as good because of how much the computing power has changed between now and then. Like the level of detail that you're going to be able to see in the 3D stuff is going to be so much more. Now, whether or not that's enough to make up for Fern Gully Part 2, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's going to be that type of situation or whatever. But
You got some feelings about Fern Gully too?
No, I know. Avatar
talk
was
about
like
something?
a direct ripoff of like Fern Gully
okay.
and Dances with Wolves and like
Yeah.
any other movie that's like
no.
that. So there was no groundbreaking part to that, but the 3D part was super cool. So
I was like, did James Cameron do?
Right.
No.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't even think the first Avatar is that like great. It was just
it doesn't hold up. It's just
right.
the
It's
first
just
experience.
the technology was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
We're now past that. We've all seen it.
And
We've
he
all
needs to
done
make
it.
a good movie.
Right.
Yeah. So this one has to be good. And I just don't. Just
It was all spectacle first time around, and
exactly.
yeah.
magic is lost after the first viewing. But that is like maybe the most powerful statement tonight is don't underestimate James Cameron. He's an absolute genius.
It's done a few things.
So we'll cover the last couple pieces all in one. We got an Elemental movie announced from Pixar. It's supposed to be really, really good. Not that they showed footage to the audience, but everybody
I still said it was really good.
The insiders said it was really good. Inside Out 2 was announced with Amy Poehler returning for a summer 2024 release. So glad they announced that to us.
Yeah.
There was an announcement. So this is more from the Nope category that we were talking about. Mufasa, The Lion King, a prequel to The Lion King. And it will be the live action variety, which I'm surprised they are going back to after the live action Lion King didn't do well. The Little Mermaid live action got a teaser.
Nope.
That's a nope. Yep. Nope. Hocus Pocus 2, Disenchanted. I never saw Enchanted, but that was a really like a big hit.
I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Yep.
I
And I
even
actually
finish the
thought the trailer
for
looked good too.
Disenchanted.
So,
I got bored halfway through the trailer. Couldn't do it.
Wow.
Oh, that's too bad.
Wow.
It just didn't hold my attention because I haven't seen the first one, but I know that the first one is like a really big movie and well loved. And then we got a poster for Peter Pan and Wendy, because don't do just a boy name now. You got to have the women in there, which fine, whatever. Peter Pan and Wendy, the live action debut of Peter Pan. Not going to. Sorry.
Well,
It's like Ant-Man and Wasp.
this episode's gonna blow up.
Peter Pan and Wendy, the live action remake of the classic Disney movie. So
This is the one on the Nope that would be a yep for me, actually.
yeah, you're pretty
Yeah.
excited for it, Brian?
I just think there's an opportunity there. Like,
Okay.
I think the Peter Pan universe is cool.
Yes.
The old movie is super dated,
Yes.
and Hook was amazing in the 90s. Loved it. And so if they can do now what they did with Hook, like, I think that'd be great. I think there's plenty of room for them to screw it up, right? But I hope they don't.
So I'm glad you brought up Hook, because I think that's why I'm not excited for Peter Pan and Wendy, because I don't see you doing better than Hook. I don't know if it could be amazing, and I don't know if Hook just is very special to me. So Eric, what did you think about some of these announcements?
The Peter and Wendy thing, I actually don't have a problem with it. I'm kind of with Bryant. I think that's it's a classic tale that you retell. It's like a Batman.
Yeah, that's
you
a
could
really
just
good point.
retell that one over and over, and there's plenty of stories. You can have Hook be the masterpiece that it is, and then tell it differently over here. So yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I really don't.
It did screw it up with Pan, though. Who made that movie about 15, 20
I did
years
not like
ago?
that.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's
Newer than that,
there's
right?
no doubt that you can
did.
totally mess that story up. You really can.
Like
But
Brian said,
I think out of all of the new stuff, that's really the only thing that I have
2015.
any interest in.
Oh.
The Mufasa stuff. The voice, I don't know what you're gonna do there, with the voice.
Earl Jones, yeah.
Yep. So, but the Hocus Pocus 2, like I said, when we talked about that one a little bit earlier, my wife and my daughter, and we'll be watching that, and my son will be watching that one in the house. And I will be dragged into The Little Mermaid at some point, but I don't really want to. So
Yeah, that's inevitable.
yeah.
As Agent Smith would say.
It's
Morg, anything
inevitable.
off of that?
Yeah.
Jump out of
Mufasa, long live the king. The Little Mermaid. I know there's some of that controversy. I mean, I could care less.
Right.
I did see a leaked extended clip of her singing,
Oh,
and dang, that girl got a voice.
oh, good.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
holy cow, that blew me away.
Yeah.
Hocus Pocus 2 we talked about. Disenchanted, I am excited for. I did like Enchanted, so I'm hoping this is good. And Peter Pan and Wendy, I'm actually very excited about. I've got my Peter Pan syndrome, so I love watching Peter Pan.
You are a Peter Pan nerd. Yeah.
I love it. I in college I watched Hook like every single night. Like I could quote it. I would just fall asleep to it. I'm a big fan of the Peter Pan movie that came out in 2003. That was a live action, and it had Jason Isaacs as Hook, but also
yeah. What's it called? Is it just called Peter Pan?
Peter Pan, yeah, 2003.
Oh.
I was a big fan of that movie. That's still one of my favorites.
I think that's the one I was thinking of that got screwed up. But when I said Pan, I think I was thinking of this.
Yeah, Pan's the one with Hugh Jackman.
Garrett. That one.
That one was terrible.
That was terrible.
But I love this movie a lot. I mean, my wife still picks on me. She'll just occasionally out of nowhere just go, I do believe in fairies. I do.
Eric, I'm sending you. Eric, I am sending you the poster for this Peter Pan movie to put in for the show.
Fair.
This is wild. Okay, so I that's a really great point about Peter Pan being kind of like Batman. You can retell it, and I'm really glad more you're getting your Pan fix.
I hope there's a young Rufio. That'd be so cool.
That'd be cool, actually.
There better be a
Rufio. That would be really cool. They will have to update them. It is for sure outdated. Definitely some scenes that can just be cut out. So
we lost them real good.
That's
one of my favorite movies. I love it.
That is it for D23 that we felt like we should throw on the rundown. There was actually way more stuff. Go out and look at it. They had actually a video game day on Friday. Not a lot came out from that. Thought we'd get some Fallen Order stuff, some Spider-Man stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing. So add that to the disappointment factor when you go out and research D23 or just listen to us talk about D23. So Bryant, thanks for coming back onto the show. Great
Thanks
job
for
as
letting me run the
always.
show again. Appreciate it.
You are welcome on the show anytime you're available. You are hilarious and have great insights.
Well, and hopefully here pretty soon, depending on availability and stuff, Bryant and myself and Captain Dunsel will be making his debut on the show.
What?
We're looking at maybe doing a Star Trek focus
every day.
So over 40 crowd?
Yeah. Go to hell. Excuse me, sorry.
Eric, I forgot. I saw Captain Dunsel tonight, and he listened to the Star Trek and TARDIS question.
Oh yeah,
old episode, and he said you were wrong about it. So I can't remember. He tried to explain it to me, and I checked out.
That's fair.
Because that's I like nerd, but that's too much nerd for me. So I checked out, and I said, leave a comment.
It's gonna have to, yeah. Leave a comment. I'll be checking the comments for that one. So might even get me out of my hibernation. And comment on stuff. So.
There you go.
But yeah, that's kind of what we got planned coming up down the road and everything. So, we'll hopefully be seeing a little more of Bryant and then, like I said, the debut of Captain Dunsel.
Yeah, absolutely, Bryant. Please grace us with your presence anytime you're available. Mark, great job as always. I was very excited to hear some of your takes for tonight, knowing kind of a little bit of where you'd be going, but you always
the group now.
You know what? You used to be the positive person.
I was too.
You used to love everything, and something turns you into a
cynical.
Phase 4 turns you
getting older.
Yeah, phase 4 turns you into a cynic. But fair. It's as great as the Eric, love you, brother. Great job. Again on the nerd recaps. We'll be tuning in for that this week.
Yeah,
recap Hot D.
We'll be Hot D, and then
House of the Dragon,
and that'll get modified as we kind of move along. So that was our first attempt at it. So we'll be trying to tighten up that show, not make it quite as.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll work through it, but
work with us, people.
Growing some paints and stuff. So
yeah. All right. Well, everybody, let us know what you thought of D23. Leave us a comment, like, subscribe, all of it. We'd love to hear what you thought. If there was something you thought should be put into the rundown that we didn't cover, let us know what kind of nerd you are. We're all a nerd in our own way, and some of us are the Santa Claus nerds. All right. So
whatever kind of nerd you are, Disney probably sells a show for you.
Yeah.
That's right.
Disney is we are eating good as nerds these days.
Yes,
for sure. Especially fantasy nerds. Willow and Lord of the Rings and Hot D. A lot of good fantasy right now. We haven't gotten it. So with that being said, see y'all next week on the Nerd Rundown.
See ya. Bye.
Oopsies.